to the show. My name is Natalia, and I'm a psychology student, a tutor, and someone who spends a lot of time thinking about how our everyday choices shape who we become. I've worked with kids, teens, and families for years now, and one of the things I always notice is how our ideas about health start forming way earlier than we think. Today, I wanted to talk about health promotion, disease prevention, health goals, and how culture and media shape the way we think about our bodies. Now, why did I choose this topic? Honestly, it's because I'm living it. I'm in college, I'm trying to balance school, work, relationships, and my own well-being, which normally ends up being very low on the totem pole. I'm also watching people around me, my friends, families, and coworkers, try to take care of themselves in ways that sometimes make sense and sometimes really don't. And when I learned the psychology behind health behaviors, everything suddenly clicked. So I figured, why not break it down here? Before we get into interviews, let's get some definitions out of the way. Health promotion refers to activities that help us maintain or improve our health. These are things like exercise, sleep routines, balanced eating, or stress management strategies. Disease prevention is related but slightly different. It's about actions specifically meant to reduce our risk of negative health outcomes. For example, cancer screenings, vaccinations, or cutting back on a behavior that raises your risk of illness. A huge part of both concepts is setting health goals. When we set these goals, we're actually defining a sort of possible self, the person we want to become, which I do every year on my vision board. And research shows that when we share these possible selves with others, like the ones they see when they walk right into my room, we're more likely to follow through. These goals become even more effective when we put time, energy, and emotional investment into them. Another idea from the textbook is health value. That's the level of importance we place on health and health behaviors. Someone with a really high health value typically engages in more health-enhancing behaviors, but only when those behaviors fit with their cultural values. So culture is not just background noise here, it actively shapes what we think being healthy even means. That covers our foundation. Now let's switch over to a conversation that means a lot to me. Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm joined by somebody very special to me, my grandma. She has a unique way of looking at health shaped by her childhood, her culture, and the fact that she has made it 70 years with more energy than anyone I know. Mama, thank you for being here.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
So, before we get into health habits, I wanted to ask you, when did you think about health promotion and disease prevention? How did these ideas show up in your life and in the lives of the people you grew up with?
Well, health prevention was basically going to the doctor if you were having an issue. And goals, not particularly. Health was just something that you dealt with on a daily basis as something came up.
Thank you. Now I want to talk about health goals. What are your health goals right now? And how have you been working towards them?
Oh, I've been having health issues, especially with my back, a lot of pain, and that has caused me to basically have very limited mobility. So I did try to do water aerobics and during the summer. Unfortunately, I don't have a heating pool or heated pool, so that's stopped, but I am doing physical therapy and getting physical therapy massages. That's what I've been doing lately. Not as much as I probably should be doing, but for me, it's big steps.
How is this different from how you set health goals when you were younger?
Health goals when I was younger, basically back 60 years ago, there really weren't very many health goals. You had physical education in school, kept you active. If you had a medical issue, obviously you would go to a doctor, a dentist, etc. But one thing I do notice is that we kept very active. At least here in South Florida, there was a lot of walking involved. I want to say that easily I would walk 30 blocks a day, going to and from school when I was in junior high school, and afterwards in high school it was even more, plus PE or some sort of sports activity. So walking was an integral part of our lives versus now, which you just walk 10 steps, you're in a car.
Your answers actually remind me a lot of the Alameda County study from 1965. It was one of the earliest large surveys, over 7,000 people, and it found that people who practice healthful behaviors
are much healthier than those who don't, which sounds like common sense now, but back then it helped create the foundation of preventative healthcare, and it showed that the little things we do every day really matter. Now, one thing I really wanted to talk about was cultural health factors. A lot of us grew up with generational gaps in health education. We might have heard myths about weight or diet culture or what healthy looks like. Some of those messages can be harmful. Mama, you've talked before about what health meant when you were growing up. How did cultural beliefs around bodies and the way they're perceived shape the way that you take care of yourself?
Again, if you felt fine, that was pretty much it. You were fine. You would obviously go for checkups. Good color meant that you were healthy. Growing within certain parameters means that you were developing well and you were healthy. Exercises were not a big deal, except again for physical education in school, and that's something that was a requirement all the way through our last year in high school, which I noticed that it's not that anymore, but that's another situation. As far as going to gyms and things like that, that was unheard of. Only maybe football, basketball players would go to the gym at school. And as far as diet, we all wanted to look good, of course, but it was more aesthetic than it was health related.
Can you expand on that?
There was expected looks that we all wanted to achieve if we had a certain body style or body type. If fashion looked good on us, that was fine. Diet, I guess, became more important maybe, I want to say, like after I had my kids, and I did gain a little bit of weight after I had them, and then it was again more for personal looks than it was for health. Obviously, I was never obese, so I would imagine that would have been a trigger factor. But the few extra pounds here or there was you wanted to lose them because you wanted to look good. And then at that point, I think the gym came into place. I did go, gym was a joke compared to what they have now. It was just 3 or 4 machines and they basically did the work for you. It was rollers and just a conveyor belt and stuff like that. But I was very good as far as going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. Then school, work, and kids got in the way. And there were, of course, other factors involved, but it became harder and harder. And again, it wasn't a big priority, as it would definitely be now. And I completely understand that for health reasons, it should be one of the #1 priorities, more so than aesthetically. But as we age, or as the world develops, if you want to call it that, we see things differently and we realize that there were a lot of mistakes. And I guess in 40 years, we'll look and we'll see, gee, we did a lot of mistakes also.
What habits helped you stay healthy for 7 years, and what advice would you give to young people who are trying to take control of their health for the first time?
Diet. And by diet, I don't mean diet for losing weight. I mean diet in terms of healthy eating. And by healthy eating, again, I mean just natural things. I try to stay away from anything that is overly processed. And unfortunately, you go to the grocery store nowadays and 3/4 of what's out there is highly processed with a lot of additives that are not necessarily good for you. That has always been top of my list, and I want to say that it should continue to be on everyone's list.
Thank you so much, Mamadita. Before we wrap up this segment, I want to mention another model from health psychology, the health beliefs model. It says we're more likely to act when we believe we're susceptible to heart problems, we believe the consequences would be serious, and we believe that taking action would actually help us. If the action feels easy, we're more likely to do it, and if it feels hard, unfamiliar, or scary, we probably won't. I think a lot of your advice fit perfectly into the model. Thank you so much for joining me, Mamaita. I really appreciated your time and your wisdom.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I love you.
I love you more.
Okay, welcome back. For this last part of the episode, I wanted to dig into popular media and how it shapes our beliefs about health. Let's look at TikTok. I searched the word health, and honestly, it's a wild place. The content for men leads very macho man, fitness, muscle gains, supplements, and performance. There's a lot of talk about taking steroids and health performance enhancements. There's a lot of shirtless men in the mirror flexing for other shirtless men in the mirror. It's a strange place. For women, it's a very different energy. Diet culture, weight loss, clean eating, Pilates princesses, and almond moms. It's normally extremely restrictive eating and routines being marketed as lifestyle, a day in the life. You know what I'm talking about. On both sides, supplements are pushed constantly. Every single one of these influencers is actively trying to sell their supplements, their sponsorships, their Gymshark deals, or just their Substack subscription for how to become your ideal self in 30 minutes. Chloe Ting 30-minute abs, I'm sure we all remember. Yet when you look at the research, a lot of these products actually don't have very strong evidence behind them, and they're unnecessary for the average person. A lot of supplements, when you take over a certain threshold of them, they just get washed right through your body and out your bladder. And then there's the health and fitness to eating disorder pipeline, something I've noticed a lot actually in my own friend groups. This is real and deeply concerning. Someone posts harmless videos about smoothies, gym days, running marathons, and suddenly they're considered an authority. That's the common sense model. When somebody looks healthy and performs a specific routine, we assume that they're experts, even without checking their qualifications. It gives them credibility, or ethos, as we all went over in our high school English class, even if what they're promoting is unhealthy or unrealistic. Just look up body inspo on Twitter. Yeah. So I want to be very, very clear. Media can inspire us to be healthier, to pursue those health goals that we set, but it can also be very harmful. The trick is to stay aware of which messages support real health and which ones push fear or insecurity. You don't need a headphone waist. You don't need a thigh gap. You need good scores on your blood tests and the ability to be happy in the body that gives us so much and gives us the ability to walk and run and breathe and enjoy our days. Today we talked about health promotion and disease prevention, how health goals shape our possible selves, and why cultural values influence how we care for our bodies. We heard real stories, looked at the Alameda County study, explored the health benefits model, and compared all of this to the messages we see on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. If there's one takeaway I got from doing this episode, it's that health is personal, cultural, and psychological, which means it exists in our mind, in ourself and our perception of ourself, and in the world around us and how it defines ourselves and our bodies. Our health only grows through small choices, that ones that feel meaningful, realistic, and are grounded in actual knowledge and research. Always research. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Also, to my professor, thank you very much for this assignment. I actually really enjoyed it. I hope you have a great break.